and welcome. This is Adventures with Ariel. Today we are talking about the mistakes that you should avoid when you visit Disney World. So without further ado, let's get right onto the video. Before we continue, I just want to let y'all know that I put out a fair share of Disney and travel videos every single week, so if you're into that kind of stuff and you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. So what inspired me to make this video is a Buzzfeed article that my dad sent me the other day called The 23 Mistakes That Everyone Makes When They Go to Disney World for the First Time. And I thought it was a pretty good article, but I wanted to make my own list. I wanted to kind of give my own input into the subject. I know it's been done a lot, so let's get right into it. What are the mistakes that you should avoid when you go to Disney World? So the first mistake we're going to talk about is one that was listed in that Buzzfeed article, dressing uncomfortably when you're visiting the parks. A lot of people do want to look good for those Instagram photos, maybe in front of the purple wall. There's a lot of pressure, especially nowadays, to look good at Disney World for social media. And I get it, I do. But try to find something cute and practical for your full day at the parks. Shoes are especially crucial with this kind of thing. You will be walking up to 7 or 8 miles on an average day at Disney World, so you don't want to play around when it comes to the shoes. And this means no heels, no uncomfortable flats that you haven't broken in yet, and just in general, yeah, no shoes that you're not used to wearing on a day-to-day basis. Wear something, it can still be cute, but try to make it comfortable and practical as well, because you will be walking a long time, and make it suited for the kind of weather you'll be experiencing that week. Second mistake I want to talk about is buying merchandise in the parks instead of buying it online beforehand. I know a lot of people are tempted to buy merchandise. It's certainly okay to buy it after you've taken a good look around and really decided what you want to take the most from the parks, but a lot of things, including t-shirts, backpacks, and other sort of Mickey merchandise, you can find for much cheaper online on Amazon, on Etsy, on eBay. Or Target has a lot of really cute Disney merchandise now that you can get pretty good deals on. So I would definitely recommend checking out those places first before you decide to buy something really pricey in the parks. One thing that I have found is a lot cheaper online are mini ears. I got this pair of black and rose gold mini ears online for only 12 bucks, and they would be like around $25, $26 in the park. Another thing you should know, these ears are actually a lot more comfortable than the ears at the parks, because with the ears at the parks, they are made to fit the size of a child's head, so when an adult is wearing them, they can add a lot of like pressure on your head and they feel really tight, whereas these ears, I feel like I'm wearing nothing on my head. So if you're interested in purchasing some ears like these, I will put a link to that Amazon page below where I bought the ears. Just be careful about the merchandise you're buying at the parks, and know that there are much cheaper places to buy merchandise that is very similar, if not exactly the same. Mistake number 3 that I see a lot of people make is forgetting sunscreen. Sunscreen is so important given how strong the sun is down in Florida, and you definitely want to make sure you're lathering that sunscreen on. You are very likely to get burned even with cloudy and overcast days. You don't want to be playing around with sunscreen, and if you forget that sunscreen and you are forced to buy it in the parks like I have, you may find yourself being charged an arm and a leg for just a little tiny tube like this one right here. Be prepared. Come with sunscreen. It's a must. And along those lines, you also don't want to forget snacks, because you will find yourself becoming periodically hungry throughout the days with all the walking. Remember, you're walking 7 to 8 miles every single day that you spend at the parks, so you definitely want to come armed with plenty of tasty snacks. You don't want to be having to pay money every time you get hungry. I'm just going to show on the screen right now some of my favorite snacks that I like to bring to the parks. Granola bars and apples and Belvita bites are always a good choice. Bring a little backpack with you if you must. Another mistake you don't want to make is skipping the shows. Yes, I know, kids are very excited to go on all the rides, and even a lot of adults are, but by missing the shows, you're gonna miss a lot of quality entertainment at Disney. And with shows, I also mean parades and street performances. It's a great way to just relax, get off your feet for a while. A great show to attend is the Finding Nemo live musical stage show, because that That is a 45-minute show indoors, very cool in there. You don't have to always be running around and moving when you're at Disney World. You can find yourself relaxing in a lot of different ways that you may not have thought of before. Our next mistake is not checking the park hours. They change every single day. You don't want to be messing around with those, especially because if you are staying at a hotel, you can take advantage of certain days where certain parks will have something called extra magic hours. You know, the park may be open an hour early than it usually would be, or it may be open 3 hours after it closes. You definitely want to take advantage of those and know just how much time you have in the day at a certain park so you can really plan accordingly. Buying a park hopper pass is another common mistake that I see. I know it seems great at the time because they're like, oh, you know, more than one park in a day, you know, how could you pass that up? But it's really not worth it. First of all, the parks are not as close together as you might think. It takes a while to get from one park to the other. A decent length of a bus ride. When I do 2 parks a day, I find that I'm more like skimming these parks and really enjoying the best of what one park has to offer. And that's what you really want to do when you visit Disney World, is you just want to take it all in and enjoy yourself and not feel like you're rushing. Once again, you don't want to have that feeling when you're at Disney World. It will just cause more stress. So the park hopper passes, they will seem attractive at the time when you're initially reading up on the details and everything, but do not fall for it. Another thing you don't want to do at Disney World is plan a vacation right around some of the major holidays. I talked a little bit about this in my last video about the best times to visit Disney World. The parks will be a madhouse anytime you go during the holidays. It makes a lot more sense to go on a non-holiday or times of the year when school is in session. You can still find ways to enjoy these holidays without having to be there right on that holiday. And once again, if you want to learn more about that, check out my other video about the best times to visit Disney World. And then on that note, I would also say avoid the mistake of going on the weekend. You would be surprised at just how much more expensive and crowded the parks can be on the weekend. If your schedule allows for a midweek trip, take advantage of that. Lines are short, hotels are cheap, restaurants will have fewer screaming children, and your flights might even cost less. Definitely consider going during the week. It will be worth it, I promise you. And then I just wanted to come to my 2 main points that I wanted to make with this video. It's really about trying to find a nice balance between trying to do too much and just trying to wing it. You don't want to do either one of those things. You want to find a happy balance. Trying to do too much. Even people like me who visit Disney World regularly have made this mistake. When I visit Disney World, sometimes I want to do everything. I'm like, oh, we're at Magic Kingdom. Well, we have to go on Splash Mountain and Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, and we have to do everything else. If you're trying to get to the park at opening and stay until closing, and you're going on as many rides as possible, then by the 3rd or 4th day of the vacation, you have a very exhausted, very cranky family, and your feet will be just like dead. At least that's happened to me, where I just can't even like feel my feet anymore because I've just walked so much and gotten so exhausted from everything. So here's what you do instead. Instead, you try to take a break every now and then. You try to take a break in the afternoon. Spend some time at the resort you're paying for, because the resorts keep that Disney magic alive and there's so much to see there. You can lounge by the pool, or you can just explore the resort a little bit, because you definitely want to have some downtime. You could even just relax at the park. Like, you could have a relaxing drink in the World Showcase. Once again, you could find several shows to attend where you can be sitting down for an extended period of time. Don't stress yourself out. Don't settle for being frustrated. You're coming to Disney World to have a good time, to relax. You're on vacation. Even if you don't get to do everything, you will find yourself much happier and much more satisfied at the end of the trip if you just make the time to take some breaks during the day. The second point, my husband can attest to this, I am very guilty of making this mistake, is trying to wing it. Because with me, I'm like, oh, well, you know, I've been to the park so many times. I know what I'm doing. Even with that mindset, I still get frustrated. Just because you don't want to have a minute by minute timeline of your day doesn't mean you should just purely wing it. You just want to roughly plan everything. You want to get your fast passes straightened out. You want to be looking at the My Disney Experience app, which is so useful if you don't know what times the shows are, if you want to know what wait times are in the parks. And you also just want to make some dining reservations beforehand. that's also important. Just know where you'll be eating while you're at the park, so that's something else you don't have to worry about. With dining, with attractions, with shows, it doesn't have to be a strict itinerary. Just get a basic sense of what you want to do, so you're not really stressed out if you're missing on some of those must-dos because you didn't plan ahead at all. Alright, so those were all of my mistakes to avoid while you're visiting Disney World. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it very useful, please give it a big thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy watching Disney videos like this. I'll also be doing another Disney pin giveaway soon once I reach 200 subscribers, so please stay tuned for that. It'll be very exciting. I have a lot of rare and limited edition pins from my cast member days. Comment down below, what are some mistakes that you would say people should definitely avoid in visiting Disney World? Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, have a magical day.